Hi, this is Marilyn Lohman with the National Weather Service at Pendleton, Oregon. I'll be reviewing the mountain snowpack for the current water year and the water supply forecast for the coming spring and summer. This map produced by the Natural Resource Conservation Service shows the percent of normal snow water equivalent, or we can look at it as the amount of water being held in the snowpack for the various basins across the state of Washington. It's been another very low snow month across the region. As of February 1st, the upper and lower Yakima basins were well below normal, with 38 to 43% of normal, down from near 50% of normal last month. The Walla Walla Basin, located in the lower Snake Basin in southeast Washington, was slightly better at 55% of normal. Next, we'll take a look at a few locations within the basin and see how the snowpack is faring. These charts show the snow water equivalent, or the water held in the snow, for the water year October through September. The blue line is the maximum observed, while the red line is the minimum, and the green the average. Using these charts, we can see how the snow water equivalent accumulates throughout the winter and spring and compare it to average. The Tushy SNOTEL site is in the Walla Walla Basin, around 5,500 feet. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site saw accumulation during the last half of December, but remained nearly steady through the month of January and is well below normal. The Sassy Ridge SNOTEL site is located in the upper Yakima Basin at 4,200 feet. Looking at the black line, there were some small increases during the first part of January, but it's been nearly steady throughout the second part of January and is also well below normal. The Bumping Ridge SNOTEL site is around 4,600 feet in the central Washington Cascades. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site has gotten very little in the way of snow so far this season and is also well below normal. Across the Oregon portion of our forecast area, looking at the water equivalent map from the NRCS, the snowpack is below normal statewide, with well below normal across the Cascades and portions of northeast Oregon. The northeast Oregon mountains range from around 50% in the Umatilla Basin to 60% of normal in the Grande Basin. The Cascade Mountains, including the Deschutes and Crooked Basins, are well below normal, with amounts from 20 to 30% of normal, with the highest amounts in the state near 65% of normal in the Ronde Basin. We'll take a look at some individual sites across the region in the next several slides. In the lower Deschutes Columbia Basin area, Clear Lake SNOTEL is at an elevation of 3,500 feet. Looking at the black line, the current year observation, this fairly low elevation site has gotten little snow so far this year, and with the warm temperatures over the last part of January, has lost any snowpack it had acquired. I thought it would be interesting to look at a higher elevation site from the Cascades as well. The Mount Hood test site is at 5,400 feet and saw some increase in snowpack in December, but has remained nearly steady through the month of January and is also well below normal. In the upper Deschutes Basin in the central to southern Cascades, the Three Creek Meadows SNOTEL site is at about 5,600 feet. Looking at the solid black line, we can see that this site had little accumulation of snow during December and January and is well below normal. In the Grande Basin, looking at the Blue Mountain Springs SNOTEL site at 5,900 feet, this location saw a large accumulation of snow in mid to late December, and as of January 1st was near normal. Then throughout January there has been little accumulation, and now, like most of the other locations, is well below normal. In the Umatilla Basin in the Blue Mountains, looking at the High Ridge site at 4,900 feet, using the black line, we can see that this site was increasing through the mid to late part of December and had a small accumulation during January, but continues to be well below normal. And finally, over in the northeast part of the state, the Ronde Basin, Moss Springs SNOTEL at 5,800 feet. Looking at the black line, there were some problems with the data at the very end of December, but ignoring the spikes, we can see an overall increase in snowpack through the mid part of January. The site saw steady conditions through the end of the month and has trended below normal. The Northwest River Forecast Center uses Ensemble Streamflow Prediction, or ESP, generated forecasts as the official water supply method. The 30-year runoff normals covering the years 1981 to 2010 are being used. New SP forecasts are published on the Northwest River Forecast Center's website at a minimum of once per day and are updated at the discretion of the RFC. For updated forecasts and more information on ESP forecasts, please see the River Forecast's website at the address given. This map from the Northwest River Forecast Center's webpage shows some of the water supply location points across the Northwest. We can see that the locations in northern Idaho, northern Washington, and southern Canada are marked with green and blue dots and are forecast to be near or slightly above normal. However, locations across the Cascades in southeast Oregon and southern Idaho are forecast to be generally below normal. Now we'll take a look at a few sites within the Pendleton area of responsibility. For the Yakima River system, we'll look at the Yakima River near Parker. Looking at the plot, the solid green line is the 30-year normal. These plots show the entire range of forecast values, with the blue dot the 50th percentile, or most likely value. We'll be using that 50th percentile and comparing it to normal. This forecast takes into account the next 10 days of forecasted precipitation and then normal precipitation throughout the rest of the season. The volume forecast for the Yakima River near Parker continues a downward trend from 81% of normal at the beginning of January to near 75% of normal expected. The forecasted volume of water, looking at the blue dot, for the Ronde River near Troy has decreased significantly with the lack of snowpack. It is expected to be 69% of normal as compared to near 90% of normal expected at the beginning of January. This forecast is based on having normal precipitation throughout the rest of the year. For the Umatilla River at Pendleton, for the period April through September, the volume forecast has decreased to 75% of average. This forecast is based on current conditions and normal precipitation throughout the rest of the year. For the site, the Columbia River at the Dells, once again we see the average plotted in green with the most likely value, the blue dot. The volume for the April through September period is currently forecast to be near 94% of normal. The previous scene plots and additional water supply locations are available in an interactive form on the Northwest River Forecast Center's website at the address listed on the concluding slide. Looking ahead, the 3-month outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for February, March, and April calls for continued above normal temperatures and equal to slightly increased chances of below normal precipitation. The latest drought monitor continues to show extreme drought for southeast Oregon, with a deterioration in conditions along and west of the Cascades. Much of the region remains in moderate to severe drought conditions, and those conditions are expected to continue as we are seeing a lack of snowpack for the mountain areas. For more information on the unseasonably dry and drought conditions both here in the Northwest and across the country, please visit the National Integrated Drought Information System webpage at the address above. You can view the drought monitor, look at current and forecast conditions, as well as impacts from drought and also resources relating to drought. If you have any questions, please contact me by email or phone, and I hope you'll join me again in March for another look at the snowpack, and we'll be taking a look at the water supply forecasts once again for the coming spring and summer.